All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call Halloy Malay Yahweh Bahashem Hawashai Bahashem Chakodash. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Hawashai Bahashem Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach where I learned this truth from. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect that believe on this truth and sincerity. It's your brother Yapa Khan coming through the spirit of power of Yahweh Bahashem Hawashai from the GMS Cleveland branch. The Lord willing, this be edifying. I don't know what I might change the title, but I just put in the spirit, in today's date. Just something, just gonna speak on what I was, a few thoughts I had, mainly counting the cost, counting the cost, which that comes from Luke, the 14th chapter. I'm gonna just go to it. And I know when you read it, I believe it might be in the blue letter and maybe even other, yes, it's in other Bibles, okay? The subheading of the section where it talks about counting the cost, it will say the cost of discipleship, meaning what comes with being a disciple, which is another word for a disciple is a student, a pupil, a learner, a follower. Who do we learn from? Okay, who do we follow after? Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Chakodash, okay, which the Chakodash is the Holy Spirit, okay, that is upon the men. Okay, to preach the true understanding of the scriptures. But I'm going to just get right to it. This is Luke chapter 14 start at verse 26. It says, and this is Yahweh Shah speaking, it says, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Okay, now this hate is not talking about, being a lion in your house, cussing out your whole family, rebuking them every time you see them, but it's more so you love them less than you love the Lord. Okay, meaning the Lord is always going to come for, it's always going to come before these different people and even different things, even your own life. The things you may take pleasure in, you may want to do, whether it be working out, chilling with women. Sometimes you got to put these things off just so you can serve the Lord, just so you can read, just so you can study, just so you can pray, just so you can fast. You got to deny yourself, which that's what Yahweh Shah said. Salakia. Yeah, it's not in this chapter, but Yahweh Shah said, matter of fact, I'm going to just go to it. Because that's what it means when it says to hate. But basically denying those things, especially if they hindering you from growing in the truth. And the Apostle Tahar always said, if you're not growing, you're not the elect. So we want to constantly be growing. Let's lock it. Let me see real quick. Oh yeah, Khan. This is Luke chapter 9. In verse 23, he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself. You see, deny himself. Your pleasures, your lusts. Okay? We're going to look at the word deny real quick.
Strong's G 533. Aparneomai.
Aparneomai. Okay, it says to deny, of course, to affirm that one has no acquaintance or connection with someone. So ultimately, you can't be connected with your everyday life, the people you come across. Okay, the only thing we should be connected to is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Okay, it says to forget oneself, lose sight of oneself and one's own interests. Okay, because this is going into the word deny. Okay, I'm reading it again. It says to forget oneself, lose sight of oneself and one's own interests. Okay, to the point you might spend so much time reading or studying or whatever the case may be, doing a lesson, and then get to the point where you forget to eat. Next thing you know, you done did an intermittent fast. Okay, or you forgot to go to the gym. These things are all a part of denying yourself. Which is a balance, of course, but you always want to put the truth before everything. Always want to put Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah before everything. I'm going to finish it out. Luke 9:23, he said to them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Okay, and that cross represents whatever burden, okay, whatever hell you got to catch, you got to deal with it daily, on a daily basis. I'm going to read the next verse, matter of fact, Luke 9:24. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. You got to be willing to give up your life. That's why Apostle Paul, the Lord said through Apostle Paul, present your bodies as a living sacrifice. Every day that goes by, you should be willing to give up your life, essentially, okay? Because putting time and energy, okay, towards the ministry, towards fellowship with brothers, reading and things like that, it's all a sacrifice. And ultimately, these things can if you truly in the spirit and you truly committed, it could lead to you giving up your life, okay? Because we do these things because we don't want to quarrel with Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, not with Esau Edom and his beast system that he is trying to establish, this NWO he is trying to establish, but we don't want to quarrel with Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, okay? And that's why Yahweh Shah said, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, because we know some of the elect going to be beheaded, okay? For the word, for believing in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah. But I'm going to go back to Luke chapter 14, not to get too off topic. And read verse 27. Whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Once again, that cross going into whatever hell you got to catch, whether it be a woman being a demon, trying to put you on child support, trying to take the kids, okay, whether it be whatever it is, okay, you got to go to court, whatever it is, you just got to deal with it. And even more so, as you deal with it, you got to continue to push this word. You got to continue to serve and show yourself a believer. Show yourself a man, of course. But it says, verse 28, for which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it? Okay? If you was about to build a tower, build a house, if you about to do anything, you're going to have to take the time to sit down and actually consider, okay, I'm going to need this in order for me to be able to do this. I'm going to have to cut this out of my schedule so I can make time to put the effort into building this tower. So that's how it is with being in this truth. You got to actually consider, okay, that you going to have to cut off certain things. You're going to have to give a certain amount of time to the Lord and so on and so forth. This is all a part of counting the cost, and even more so what comes with it. Because when you start to give more time to the Lord, of course you're going to give less time to other things, but you also become less attached to those things, especially your family and things like that, and that could be a and that could be a stumbling block. Because matter of fact, we're gonna go to Luke the 9th chapter real quick. This is Luke chapter 9 and verse 59, right to the point. He said unto another, this is Yahweh Shah speaking to men that was walking up asking to follow him. It says, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go and bury my father. So you on some, before I follow you, let me go bury my father. But it says, verse 60, Yahweh Shah said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go and preach the kingdom of the Most High. And the dead is talking about the spiritual dead. Okay, of course his father was physically dead, but the rest of his family, they wasn't coming to inquire and to follow after Yahweh Shah. So they spiritually dead. They wasn't worried about being in the way of understanding. Okay, it says, verse 61, another also said, Lord, I will follow thee, but let me first go bid them farewell which are at home at my house. So he said, I'm going to follow you, but let me go say goodbye to my loved ones. Okay, let me go say goodbye to my cousin Pookie, my cousin Ray Ray. And verse 62, and Yahweh Shah said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Okay, and that looking back goes into having regard and respect and attachment to the things that you leaving, the things that we are supposed to detach from. Okay, and if you haven't respect to those things, it's Yahweh Shah say you're not fit for the kingdom. Okay, and you got to count the cost. Okay, because when you serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, as it tell you in Sirach, the 2nd chapter. You will be tempted to forsake the Lord, because these different things is all to get you to go astray from the path, to go aside from the straight gate. But let's go back to Luke chapter 14. I'm going to read verse 28 again. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first to count of the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it, okay? You got to consider, do I have what it takes? And if not, if that could be a doubt, then you want to pray to the Lord, okay? Because the elect do have what it takes to finish building, to finish the mission. Verse 29, less happily after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him. Next thing you know, you fall out the truth. Okay, you don't want to help build the spiritual third temple, so to speak. You don't want to help build up the kingdom and establish righteousness, which the Lord is doing through his prophets. You fall out. Next thing you know, the people that was watching you do it, your family that you was so-called detached from, as you follow Yahweh, even the men of the Lord that you was once, laboring with, they all start to make fun of you. They all start to mock you. And nobody wants to experience that, but we know some will. But it says, verse 30, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Look at this nigga. He did all of that, talking all that Hebrew Israelite stuff. He quit his job. He ain't take the juice. And he don't even believe in it no more. Verse 31 says, or what king going to make war against another king sitteth not down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000. So this is all going into counting the cost. Sitting down, taking the time to think, consider, meditate on what comes with what you intend to do. What we intend to do is serve the Lord, okay, and endure unto the end in hopes to be saved and hopes to be delivered. Okay, and in the midst of doing that, you're going to have to forsake things. You're going to have to forsake your own self. Okay? Speaking in reference to deny yourself, your lust. Because I'm going to just close with this. This is something quick through the Spirit. Because we know here in these latter days, the Lord will raise up the true worshipers, those that worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. Okay? Not in flesh. And in deceit, as some, majority of the nation of Israel will do. Follow after the flesh, follow after deceit and things like that. But this is John chapter 4 and verse 23. But the hour cometh and now is when the true worshiper shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. So the only way to serve Yahweh is to be in the spirit, okay, be guided by the Holy Spirit. And of course to have sound doctrine, the 144% truth, which is here on the planet Earth. Okay, being taught by the men that the Lord set up. Okay, which is equivalent to the true worshipers. But I'm going to read that again, John 4 and 23. But the hour cometh and now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. That's who Yahweh Shem Yahshua wants to worship him. So he's going to give the truth to those men so that they can worship him correctly. Let's see what that's saying in the NLT. John chapter 4 verse 23. But the time is coming, indeed is here now, when true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. The Father is looking for those who will worship him that way. And a part of being in the spirit is counting the cost. That's maybe what I'm titled this through the spirit is counting the cost. You got to be willing to give up, sacrifice, in order to get closer to Yahweh Shem Yahshua, in order to follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, because it's going to get harder and harder. The gate's going to get straighter and straighter. Things are going to become more difficult and more difficult the closer we get to Yahweh Shah returning. Okay, but in the midst of all of it, we got to still, as long as we can, we got to preach the word and endure. Speaking to myself first and foremost, of course, as always, but Lord willing, this was edifying through the spirit. Closing, I'm going to say, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachak Wadash. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule and teach where I learned this truth from. Peace, mercy, and blessings to the hopeful elect that believe in this truth and sincerity. Till next time, I say, Kwam Yasha Allah, wa Mawaf Lababah, Shalom.